Some people enter your life as blessings, others enter as warnings. And one of the most dangerous mistakes Christians make is ignoring discernment because they mistake it for judgment. You feel uneasy around someone, but you silence it. You notice red flags, but keep explaining them away. You pray for clarity while secretly hoping God says what you already want to hear. But what if the confusion itself is already a warning? Because throughout Scripture, God repeatedly warned people about certain relationships before destruction arrived. And many people suffered not because God stayed silent, but because they ignored what He was already showing them. Proverbs 27:12 says, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." Notice that carefully. Wise people recognize warning signs early. And today, we're going to talk about the signs God may be using to warn you about someone in your life right now. And the final sign may explain why you've felt spiritually exhausted lately. Sign 1. You lose your peace around them. One of the clearest ways God warns people is through disturbed peace. Not nervousness, not butterflies, deep inner unrest. You leave conversations feeling drained, heavy emotionally, confused mentally, spiritually unsettled. And the strange part is, you cannot always explain why. Colossians 3:15 says, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts." That word rule in Greek carries the idea of an umpire. Peace helps reveal what belongs and what does not. Now, this does not mean every difficult person is evil, but wise believers pay attention when a relationship consistently destroys their peace, especially when prayer, wisdom, and time keep revealing the same discomfort repeatedly, because sometimes your spirit recognizes danger before your emotions accept it. Sign 2. They pull you away from God. This is one of the biggest warning signs in Scripture. Your spiritual life weakens around them. Prayer becomes inconsistent. Convictions become blurry. Discipline disappears slowly. And the dangerous part is this. It usually happens gradually. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Not might corrupt, will corrupt." Samson ignored this warning repeatedly. Judges chapter 16 shows a man anointed by God, yet emotionally attached to someone slowly destroying him spiritually. And what's terrifying is that Samson kept ignoring the signs because emotions blinded discernment. Many people still do the same today. A wise Christian asks, "Who am I becoming around this person?" Because the wrong relationship will slowly normalize compromise. Sign 3. They constantly manipulate through emotion. Manipulation rarely appears obvious in the beginning. It often disguises itself as love, guilt, pressure, emotional control hidden behind affection. And many believers stay trapped because they confuse emotional intensity with genuine connection. But real love does not constantly control through fear. James 3:17 says, "The wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit." Heavenly wisdom produces peace, not constant emotional chaos. A manipulative person often leaves you feeling guilty for setting boundaries. They pressure you emotionally whenever they do not get their way, and eventually, you feel emotionally trapped instead of spiritually safe. That is not healthy love. And sometimes, God is warning you through the emotional exhaustion itself. Sign 4. They create constant confusion. God is not the author of confusion. Scripture says that directly. 1 Corinthians 14:33 says, "For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace." Now think about that carefully. Some people bring constant instability into your life. Mixed signals, hot and cold behavior, broken trust, endless emotional inconsistency. One day they pull you close, the next day they disappear emotionally. And eventually your mind becomes consumed trying to decode them constantly. That is emotionally exhausting. Wise Christians understand something important. Confusion is often a warning sign, not an invitation to chase harder. Because healthy relationships produce clarity over time, not endless emotional instability. Sign 5. You keep ignoring red flags because you're afraid to let go. This may be the deepest sign of all. Deep down, you already know something is wrong, but fear keeps you attached. Fear of loneliness, fear of starting over, fear of losing the version of the future you imagined with them. So you keep praying for different answers while ignoring the signs already in front of you. And honestly, many people stay in destructive relationships because they worship potential more than reality. Isaiah 30:21 says, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" God leads, warns, redirects, but many people drown out discernment because emotions are louder. Listen carefully. Not every relationship is meant to continue forever. Some people enter your life to teach lessons, not to stay permanently. And sometimes God removes people because He sees what you cannot yet see clearly. So if you've been feeling spiritually unsettled around someone lately, pay attention. Stop dismissing every warning sign as overthinking. Stop confusing emotional attachment with peace. And stop asking God for signs while ignoring the ones already surrounding the relationship. Because wise believers understand something many people learn too late. Not every person sent into your life was sent to stay. Some connections are assignments, others are distractions, and some are warnings. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." A sound mind, not confusion, not constant emotional torment. So ask yourself honestly today, is this relationship bringing me closer to peace, wisdom, and God? Or have I been ignoring warnings because I'm afraid to let go? And if this message spoke directly to your situation, drop a comment saying, "God, give me discernment," because that prayer alone can protect your future in ways you cannot yet imagine.